Yes. Thank you guys so much. So we are John and Janae, uplines Devang and Arti, and Vishal and Sonika. We are currently in Laurel, Maryland at our new home. So we're excited about that. And yeah, we want to share about setting goals, not only just for the new year, but just setting goals in general.
Yeah.
So we have a couple of things we want to talk through, but what I would love to do is have a little bit of interaction. And even if some of the kids are still on, you guys can definitely take part. So I guess the first question I want to ask, and you guys can put the answer in the chat, is why do you guys believe most people don't stick to their goals? Because it's the new year, we can maybe gear it towards, why do most people quit on their New Year's resolutions? But what do you guys think? If you guys could put it in the chat, what are some reasons people fall off from their goals or they don't follow through? Anything that's coming to the top of your head? Looking forward to hearing. Okay. Discipline from Jennifer. I think that's a big one. Belief.
Themselves, exactly.
Focus.
Unreasonable goals.
Unreasonable. Okay. Discouragement. It's easy to do. Yeah. Absolutely. These are all things, like you said, on distractions, not the right goals. So these are all things that, when you start, I know when first joining the business, Devang and Vishal really taught me a lot about, when setting goals, make sure that they are, and we're going to go through this, realistic. Make sure that these goals are something that you can shoot for, but also make sure that they're small goals that you can build upon, just setting an arbitrary goal. I remember getting into business after my first conference. I remember I sent a picture to Vishal and Sonika and Devang and RT, like, I'm going diamond in 12 months. Like, this is my game plan. This is what I'm going to do. And that was a very unrealistic goal. Now, I will say as a business owner that it's much better to have positively unrealistic goals than negatively unrealistic goals. Like, to be super like, oh, I'm only going to achieve this is on the negative side, but you want to find a good middle ground. But I guess, what are you, I know we talked a little bit before. What are two things that we talked about that
actually
why people don't
I saw them in the chat, and they were unrealistic, and just like John just mentioned, people setting unrealistic goals for themselves, and also just not having focus. And so what you mean by that is, like, are you like keeping track of your goals? Are you allowing distractions to get in the way of the goals that you set? And then not just forgetting about it. It's kind of like out of sight, out of mind. So if you're not focused on the goal, then, it's kind of hard to achieve it.
Yeah, absolutely. And even for like I know some of the kids on the call here are like high schoolers or in college. So like setting an unrealistic goal is kind of like maybe, expecting to get straight A's, be a, varsity athlete, be a part of like 12 clubs and things like that. So I remember as a, student, and even it applies in this business, if you try to be, like, I remember I heard in an audio, you can be the best at anything in life, but you can't be the best at everything. You have to choose where you want to focus your effort and your energy. And I think that plays a role into, even you think of New Year's resolutions of, losing weight, for example, and people say, you know what, I'm going to lose 30 pounds, I'm going to, go work out, 2 hours a day, starting January 2nd, because they're not going to start on the 1st. They're going to eat more food on the 1st. And it's so unrealistic that when they go 1 or 2 times, it's very easy to give up on those goals because they never really believed in it to begin with. So it kind of plays into a part of with your business goals. Maybe your goal is to go BFI. Maybe your goal is to pay off a certain amount of debt. Or maybe your goal is to improve your relationships with some family members or friends or things like that. So you want to set goals that are realistic, but they stretch you. They want to be not out of sight, but out of reach. So it's like you're reaching for it, but you can still see the goal, in your vision.
Like the rubber band example. Yeah. It's like if you stretch it too far, it'll break. But if you stretch it just enough, it's just enough that you can reach it and you can actually attain it.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, and then kind of to jump into the next part, I have one slide. Well, this is just a picture, but the next one is a slide of Bill Britt, which is one of my favorite quotes. And I know Vishal and Sonika and Devang and Arti have this quote that we sent them, but one of Bill Britt's favorite quotes that I ever heard was, happiness is found in the process of accomplishing a worthwhile goal or dream. So the key to happiness in life is going after goals, going after things. It's not in, oh, I made $1 million or I achieved, being a diamond. It's what's the next goal, because I'm sure all of us who are on social media hear different podcasts and videos about people who are like, once I achieved this level in business or sold this company, I was kind of empty on the inside. I wanted something new to go after.
Yeah. And you hear that a lot in audios where they're talking about, the most fun that they had and the best times that they've had, or when they were in the process of reaching that goal or that dream, or the process of becoming a diamond or an emerald. So it's not just about when you reach that goal, which is a great thing, once you reach it, but it's like you'll find that happiness as you're going about, getting to that goal, because you're in it, you're in the trenches, you're fighting for it. And it's like you have that adrenaline because you're focusing on, what that goal is going to be. So
yeah, absolutely. Fall in love with the process, becoming a better version of yourself, a better business owner, a better son, a better daughter, a better husband, wife, whatever it is, fall in love with the process of becoming better, not just, achieving a certain end goal. Because once you achieve it, obviously you want to reset a new goal and keep moving beyond it. So this is a big one. And then the last thing we can touch on is these SMART goals. So these are some things that Janae can kind of go into on, like, what are some components of goals that you want to keep in mind when you're setting goals? So all of us after this pace can maybe reflect going into the holiday season, what do we want to achieve in 2024? And these are some things that you can kind of keep in mind and maybe make note of, so that you can kind of make sure your goals are along this line, and check with your upline after you set those goals as to if they're, meeting these criteria. But you can go through them.
We can both go through because they're really short.
And list them out, and then we'll go.
But so I mean, I guess anyone who's below high school age probably doesn't know about SMART goals, but SMART goals are basically smart, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound goals. And these are what you want to take into account when you're setting your goals. So for specific, I said SMART. Yeah, SMART, specific. So for the specific goals, what exactly are you trying to achieve? So business related, are you trying to achieve 300 PV this month? That's a specific goal, because that's exactly what you're trying to achieve. Or are you trying to, how many people do you want at the next conference? Like things
Very
like
specific,
that, very specific. For measurable goals, how will you know when you've achieved it? So that's kind of what I was talking about with tracking your goals. You want to be able to track the goal, because then you'll know, like, okay, I've achieved it, or maybe I'm not there yet, but I'm close. So you want to be able to have it in front of you, be able to see, like, where am I in reaching my goal, and am I tracking it, and am I on track, basically?
Yeah. And a common thing that most people, and we've done this, and I've seen a lot of people do this, where they kind of fall short, is like, I want to grow my business this month. But like Janae said, if it's not specific or measurable, what does grow your business mean? Because having one more conversation might make you think you're growing your business, but did more PV happen? Did you make another sale? Did you launch somebody into your business? So something very specific that you can track and your upline can hold you accountable to.
Very good point. Yeah. And so for attainable goals, is it genuinely possible to achieve it? So just like John was saying when he first launched, him wanting to be a diamond in the next 12 months. Maybe it wasn't impossible, but he didn't know the ins and outs of what it meant to do that. So maybe a genuinely possible goal would be, in the next 6 months, I want to reach this amount of PV, or, you know what I mean? So I'm not saying, it's not that you don't want to say it, but am I going to be a diamond in the next 2 months? That's probably not going to be possible.
Take 6 months.
Exactly. Anyway. So like, and of course, if you're new and you're just really excited, that's amazing. But just definitely sit down with your upline and kind of game plan what those possible goals are for you. So for relevant goals, does it contribute to your agency's revenue growth? You want to go through that?
Yeah, like your business growth. How much money, how much more money did you make? Or I know when talking with Devang and RT about preparing for this, maybe setting goals even outside of business, maybe with your finances, maybe Janae and I were in a lot of debt coming out of college. So maybe you want to pay off an extra $200 a month in your student loans every month, or maybe you want to pay off your car earlier, or like we said, improve a relationship with a family member, so those are things that can help, the revenue growth. Obviously how much money is in your PV check every month is very easy to track. but even other areas, in personal growth and relationships.
Exactly. I was going to say, like with BWW, are you just diving into the audios and the books and kind of building your confidence and your belief so that you can even reach these goals that you're making for yourself. So all of that takes into account of your growth and your business growth. Just like whole. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, and then the last one is time bound. So when do you want to achieve this by? And I mean, if you are in this business, you'll hear from your upline all the time, like you have to set a date, you have to set when you want to do it. So you don't want to just say, I want to be a platinum. Okay, when do you want, what's the date? What's the exact date, the month, the date, and the year? So that's really important because then your deadline, kind of like your brain is like, okay, by this time I need to achieve this goal. So what am I going to do to get there?
Yeah, absolutely. And for those of you guys that were on the webinar last Thursday, you guys heard Paul Miller, the positive self-talk, I'm a diamond, I'm a diamond, I'm a diamond. So that's how you want to speak your goals. Once you set your goals, you want to speak them in the present tense. Like, let's say your goal is you want to be a BFI qualifier by Winter Jam in the next 60 days or 45 days. So you want to say, I am a BFI at Winter Jam 2024, or I am 7,500 PV by September 2024, so you can start Q12 qualification or things like that. So those are things that I would recommend all of you guys to start meditating on and thinking about going into the new year. What goals do you want to set for yourself? What areas? Again, like we said, business is very good, but even you want to set goals outside of business, because I know a lot of us, as with business, there's ups and downs. So you might not hit your business goals every single month. Like, for example, if a really great goal is having one new person at the board plan every week, you may or may not have that. I know Janae and I, that's always our goal. Some weeks we hit it, some weeks we don't hit it. But what are other areas of your life that you want to improve on? Because if you're obviously, our lives are more than just business. So like we were saying, your faith, your health, your relationships, your finances. So I would encourage you guys to sit down, especially going into the new year. This is kind of a time of reflection. So think back on what you've accomplished this past year, whether it's positive or not as positive as you wanted it to be. And how can you move forward into next year and set goals, like we said, all around?
Yeah, that's something I kind of wanted to touch on, because I remember in the beginning of just starting the business, that was something kind of that John actually brought up to me, like next year, like what is the type of person that you would want to be? Like, what would you be wanting to doing a year from now? Do you want to be the same person that you were the year before? So kind of think of, like John was saying, goals that you want in your life, in your entire life. So like, do you want to be, I don't know, the same shy person that you are now? Or do you want to be in the same financial situation that you are now? Or do you want to grow? So think of ways that you might want to budget. Think of ways that you might want to start using your products a little bit more, and maybe using less other products, stuff like that. So
yeah, absolutely. And like we said, kind of, I think that's a perfect way to wrap this up is, like you said, give yourself grace, look back on some of the things that you've accomplished this year, and you might not have accomplished everything you wanted in business. I'm sure you've accomplished some goals, but like Janae was saying, what are other areas of life? Like maybe you had a major goal of wanting to move out, or maybe you had a major goal of wanting to get a promotion in your job so you could afford more products in your business. So even though those aren't like I launched somebody new or I hit a new pin, those are also still goals that are on your way towards these other areas of, success in your life. So I would encourage you to start thinking of those other goals that you want to reach, health related, faith related, and things like that. And you'll realize that your journey, it'll be a lot easier to enjoy the process if you're growing in a lot of different areas. Because if you just neglect your whole life and just focus on the business, it's like, what does it mean to gain the whole world, but then lose everything else in your life? That doesn't, you want to have a balanced life. That's one thing Vishal, I remember mentioned my first follow-up was the key to success in this business is all around success, not just wealth, but relationships, family, and things like that. So yeah, that's all we really have to share. We're super excited going into 2024. We know that we're on our run to platinum and Q12 and double eagle ruby. And, that's going to be our goal coming into 2024. And, we're going to put the work in, and, we hope that all of you guys take some of these notes and start applying them and, grow in your business as well as other areas of your life, because we need more rising stars and shining stars on the Jane team and more movers and shakers. So, we're committed to being one of them. And we will pass it back over to Vashon Sonica to wrap up
you.
the amazing pace. Thank you guys so
Thanks
much.
for letting us share, and happy holidays, everyone.
Yes, yes.